Hey, what is up, nation? In this session, we're going to be taking Jourdan Tuffan's idea of an armory and we're going to be turning it into a 3D model in SketchUp. Alright, so you've seen a lot of stuff like this before that I've done, but until now it's been a speed model that I've done, and sometimes it can be hard to really understand what I'm doing. So I figured I'd break this down. We're going to just block this out very fundamentally, all the shapes and things like that. And I'm just going to show you my workflow, how I would get this started. And we're not going to get into like texturing and doing all the detail things like that, but I'll show you how I would get started. So I have SketchUp open here. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you save. When you're dealing with anything like this, you just want to make sure that the first thing you do is save a file. So this is empty pretty much, and I have my file saved. That way if anything happens, I know that I have different save points, and I can go back to a certain file if I need to. So we have that, and I want to import that image as a reference. So I'm going to go to File, Import. And then I'm going to search this folder here. I'm going to make sure down here I have checked New Match Photo. Just really quick, I don't want to unveil anything because I have a bunch of stuff that I'd love to model for you guys. I'm trying not to spoil it. Okay, here we go. So we're just going to import that again, make sure that New Match Photo is selected, hit Import. And now it has all these little lines. So what you want to do is just make sure that these, just place them really roughly to start with. Hopefully the artist used some good lines for you. That they use like a straight edge, and they did their the rendering as a perspective. And you want to make sure that all those lines are going in the same direction. So basically these 2 points are going to the same vanishing point. So we have that. And then here I'm just zooming in and selecting these and trying to refine where that vanishing point goes. And this is a little bit tough because this is jagged. So what if I just come here? Just assume that this is probably, these are all aligned. Okay, looks okay. There's a little bit, just slightly make our horizon straight, just because I don't know exactly what this is doing. Maybe not. This is just going to make it so that I can trace, essentially trace over it really quickly. Okay, so we have that, and we'll just right click and then hit done. Now you can see up here I have this little scene that was created. Basically that scene allows me to draw in the perspective. So the first thing is sort of like looking overall picture, thinking about how I would work in SketchUp to get towards the final goal. So I can see here that basically when I'm doing a blockout, I'm not going to worry too much about the texturing and stuff like that. I just want to worry about the overall shapes. So detail things like these, you know, crossbows that are on this table. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to try to get the basic forms down. But I can see that there's a line of symmetry that goes down through the middle. And then there's some repeating objects. So these look like they're all the same. So I only have to model one of those. These look like they might be the same. So these are equally spaced. One thing in architecture that I really enjoy that good architects do is that they use the same thing so that it can be repeated, and it becomes like this repetitive thing. So this kind of looks like the inverse of this. So we may try to figure out a way to do that, but these are all the same. These are all the same, and the spacing is equal. And I'm gonna guess, I don't know for sure, there's 3 bays here, there's 4 bays here. These bays actually don't look the same size. So, but they could be. And maybe you just make that decision as the artist. Okay, well these are different, but I'm gonna put them in the same thing. Or maybe this spacing is the same, but it feels different because of this one's divided into 4 instead of 3. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to set it up so that I only have to draw half of everything, basically. So what I'm going to do is basically draw this block here. So I'm going to hit P for push pull. You can see that I have that platform now. Now, like I said, I don't want to draw this twice, so I'm going to choose the line tool. I'm just going to cut this in half, right? And then erase the rest of this. Just used E there to erase everything. Select all of this, make it a group, and then make it a component. I'm going to call this stone front, stone platform. Then I'm going to take this, move it off a little bit, hit Control to make a copy, flip it along. You can see the green axis is here, so flip along green, and then just size these up. Now there's a line there, so we're going to select this, go to, or just right click, hide. There you go. So now we have this like little seamless thing, and you can see there that there's a little animation that's going, and that can get annoying when you're working in Photo Match a lot of times because you are doing that often. So you go to animation up here, just check off enable scene transitions. Now when I'm over here, there won't be that little delay. So come back in here, draw a line straight up and then back. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I think one of the things that I really got bogged down with when I first started modeling is just letting everything sort of consume me. Yeah, it's easy to just be like, oh, I need to model everything exactly like it is. So there would be a little stone edge here. I don't know if we're going to see that in the final, but yeah, it looks like you see it here a little bit. Just want to make sure that I have this line off, so hide that. And then put my stairs in. So let's go back in here. If it helps, you can always change your styles. So I'm going to draw this here and then make it a group. And then just move it down. These are going to be my stairs. So I just want to make sure the bottom is obviously going to be at the bottom of this platform here. So that'll help me figure out exactly where the edge starts. It starts right there. Again, make sure that I'm hiding this. Now I could leave this like that, or like this could be a really long step if I want to make this whole thing solid. I'm trying to think of the benefit of not doing it, of doing these steps individually. You know, I think it might be less faces if I just model it all together as one piece. So we'll just do that. So come across, make sure you're locked to that green axis. And if you want, I have a little command set up. Basically, it allows me to, if I'm editing a component or a group, it allows me to turn all the other groups off. So you can see here I have that set up for K, so I can see everything and I don't have to like rotate my model. You can change that in your preferences. So under shortcuts, if I type K here, let's see if I can find it. Component, show there we go. Window show components. Okay, so hide rest of model is K, and then I have hide similar component as J. So I switch between those as I'm modeling like this because it is quick. And you may, just for this, want to turn on hidden geometry so I can get all these lines. So we got that guy, and then I'm just gonna pull this up. Okay, and just like really quick, making these steps, they're not all created equal. You can see that, and that's fine, and I'm able to like really quickly get that sort of feeling in this model because of the way that I'm modeling this. Okay, so now when I come over here, you can see this is off a little bit, so I'm just gonna hit K so I can get that, and then just bring that down to the top. It's not exact, like I said, slightly off, but it gives me what I'm looking for. And actually this top piece looks like it is not big enough. This is down a little bit, so that's actually what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna take all of this and use your creative license. So we're just gonna move this down a little bit. Okay. And delete this face because it's not giving us what we want, or it's not necessarily, we don't need that. So anytime you can get rid of any extra faces, I would highly encourage it. It'll save you headaches later on. So I can get rid of that. Get rid of this line. And then I don't know if you could see, but I didn't hide. I hid that one line that I drew, but now there are additional lines from my push pulling that I would like to hide. So I'm just going to unhide and then hide everything. Now when I put this back on, turn hidden geometry off, that may be another thing that you want to bind to a key, is just hidden geometry. And now I have this little platform, or these steps that go up to the platform. Now for the fun part. Some things that I want to do in this, but maybe not necessarily incorporate into everything, is like I eventually want to do this, but it may take a little while for me to actually get this shape to be exactly what I want. So we'll see, but I'm gonna save these arch windows and this arch guy for last. So let's just start here. This looks like it basically comes. We're just gonna try to get the overall shape first. Just make sure you're like, I want to make sure that I'm in the green axis. So you hold shift there. And I'm just gonna sort of average this. So you can see these don't line up perfectly. It's just part of the thing that you just have to be diligent about, is making sure that. Okay, so what I want to do here is actually copy this off to the side really quick. Make this a group, and then I'll bring it back. Because what I don't want is I don't want to start fighting with this little platform, because I want this to be a group. Let's do that now. We have that a group, and now we have this a group. So I'm going to extrude this up, basically until we get to this middle ridge. I'm going to assume there's going to be a little bit on that side that I'll have to deal with. Hit K to bring that stuff back that I had before. Okay, so we have these. Now what I can do is take this edge here, because we have our line down here. We just need to line up here. And there'll be a little bit of flat, but this is just giving us the general shape. So I'm making sure that I'm on the green axes. If you want to lock to that, you can always use the arrow key. That way, no matter where I go, I'm still on the green axes. And I just want to make sure what I'm doing is looking at this line here. Now, it staggers a little bit, but I would assume that this would be the same piece of wood. I'm just going to select that. And you can see that's what I'm lining up. Is just trying to get sort of, that looks close. So we have a little flat area at the top, you know, and maybe there's other stuff going on up here. So we have that, and then our basic shape. So this looks like it's here we have this, and then there's another line there that is curved. I'm gonna copy this line because I assume those are the same. And just make sure that I'm going perpendicular with that. You can see that there, it locks to the pink. Now I have these two. You can see it's a little bit different here, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So I have this. Now I'm gonna use a chamfer tool just to make sure I get a nice clean radius, or a radius tool. So, what tool does that? What is it? What's it called? There's a Fredo tool that does it. I'm sure of it. Fredo round corner. Offset. So let's just choose like 6. I don't know what scale this is, but because we're modeling fillet. Fillet radius. So you can see there are like just sort of messing around with the tools, I kind of thought that Fredo could do it, but I also have this other tool that does it, and this is actually what I was looking for. So you select these two lines, it'll ask you for a radius, and I'm just gonna try a foot. That's obviously way too much. So if a foot was way too much, let's try maybe 4 inches. So same thing, select this and this. Fillet radius, let's try 4 inches. And that looks pretty good. These look like they sort of smooth out pretty well. And you can see that I have this shape. So if I come here, this is sort of what we're looking at. And then I am actually going to push this all the way through. Cool, right? But now, there's like all this like stuff going on that is not actually there. So what I'm gonna do is actually bring this back. And you can always, so like I have that face selected, and it doesn't look like it's selected here, but it is. So I can move that whole face. Make sure you stay on that red axis. And when you get to a point that feels good, you just stop it. So now I have that angle. And then I'm going to make this a component and call this front supports. Okay. So we have that. And what I could do is I could make like 4 copies of this, but because I know the end point, I'm gonna come all the way to the end here and then divide by 4 or divide by 3. I want 3 of those. Now these are equally spaced. You can see that they meet in the middle. So that other thing that I may want to do is just make sure that I delete this face here, and then I come in. This bottom edge, you'll see a nice hard line there. But here, I just want to make sure that I hide those. So we have that. Now these look like they're the same sort of triangle. This is just like a bigger triangle, and that's the kind of like little thing that makes a big difference when you're doing something like this, is just trying to really create that sort of cohesiveness, because I could just come in and start drawing random triangles, but you just want to have that feeling of cohesiveness is probably the best word for it. So we'll get there in a second, but it was just something I'm noticing. So we're going to come all the way back there and push this all the way to the middle. Make sure that I'm stuck on that green axis. Okay, so we got that. And then push this up. This looks like it can go in a little bit. And in cases like this, you can see that the perspective is off. I'm not sure whether it was drawn off or what. I basically, I like to average, so it's off on this side, but it's in a little bit on this side. So I just like to average it together. Let's bring that up a little bit. Okay, so we have this. Just make this a group, cut it, put it in here. Make sure that it is lining up. So we're going to delete that face because we won't see it. Take these guys, select them all, and then hide them. Okay, so we have our little platform now. I'm going to assume these are butted up to each other. I'm just going to, as a reference, I'm just going to draw a triangle here. Come back, move this here, and move it down actually, and then hit S for scale. I'm holding control here. And you can see what's happening is I'm centered on this, and when I scale that, it's not going in exactly where I want it to. And that maybe just be maybe an issue with how I set up the perspective, but more than likely is an issue with the actual drawing. And it can be tough when you're doing something like this to just really let that go, because I want the geometries to be pure. I want this to have pure geometry. So you really have to find a place that you are comfortable with whatever you're doing. and I'm gonna say like this is what I'm gonna go with for this, and that's gonna be what it is. It's gonna be what it is. So this looks all right to me, and we'll just model based on this. So what I want to do is again group this, come back into this group, and then cut this fella in half. And then you can see I'm holding shift here, and it might be hard to really see what I'm doing, but I'm selecting this face over here because that's the place that I want to stop. I got that, I got this, I can delete everything else. So now I have this guy. I'm gonna just extrude that back. Something like that. This looks like it doesn't stop quite on the end. So what I'm going to do is take this. Again, use your creative liberty in situations like this to make a decision, because it's not quite working out like I would want. I'm going to select this face here. I'm going to move it in. But I'm going to use this reference here so that it is equal here. So I'm going to make sure it's locked to that red axis. And I started at this corner, and I'm going to move it back to here. That way those two are equal. Whoops. Just make sure that this is where it needs to be. It's one thing you want to just always be careful of, that you don't move your geometry. Must have inadvertently done that. So we have that. Now, the thing with this is that I'm not going to be able to extrude like I did before with this guy. So, because this is pretty solid. So we have like an end here that's solid, but we still have these rafters. And it looks like, I'm gonna assume that these are like thick like this. And then when they get to here, they sort of get cut off. But there's like this floor level in here, which is a good indicator of where everything will go. So I think I can place that probably best with this. So I'm gonna start with this floor here. I'm just going to copy that up so that I have my faces here. Just take this and pull it all the way over. So you have that. This is just about trying to make it look. So I'm going to come to this edge. Just like basically trying to get it. This is one of those things that you just need to sort of eyeball, because I don't know exactly where that platform is. I know it's a little bit out from this, but then I need to figure out exactly, like in my head, that seems like a good distance. So I just need to extrude this platform or pull it till it makes sense with that. So, but like this side needs to stick out a little bit. Sometimes like right there, I was trying to rotate it around in 3D to figure out where that was. And actually here, I will need this face on the bottom. So I just selected that top face and now extruded it down. And move this up. Press the up arrow to lock to that face. Now I'm going to assume that this probably is angled, has the same angle. So make sure that I'm on the green axis here. Just want to make sure that that is right. Okay, so we have that. And I'm just going to move this ever so slightly, because that's the way it looked to me. Now you can see again, this isn't lining up 100% perfectly, but we have this front edge, and I think we got the feel right. I think that's an important thing to get, is the feel. So we have that, and it wraps around the corner. So what we can do, so it looks like it wraps around the corner. I can't really tell what's going on inside. I'm gonna assume there's some kind of balcony inside or something. But you can see obviously that is above this floor here. At some point it steps down. So I think here it's probably decorative. This is a little bit down. Let me just draw a line here and here. finish that line. So we have that. So there we go. And you can see what I did there is that I made this outboard. I don't actually think that's what happens. This seems like it's inside, so you can always fix that, and that's just something to be careful of when you're doing stuff like this, that you make sure that you're diligent with that kind of thing, because it can very quickly, you can start adding geometry in it and it goes pretty crazy. So like here, and what I might actually do is put this on a different group. So let's cut, let's select this guy. Okay, Control X, and then delete this, and then paste, make group. So I'm gonna assume that this would come all the way across and then end in the middle. Okay, so that gives me, make sure that I'm stuck in this red, and then choose that center line. There we go. Select this and hide. Okay. Now what I might start to do, I don't know if we'll get there in this, but start to pull this face in as the main face. Hide. So we have this guy here, and you can see this kind of looks like a 45s at some point. So what I'm going to do, it's not exactly the same, but it's similar to. So I'm going to come in, use this guy I created before, and actually there's some weird geometry within that I can just delete because I shouldn't need it. And while we're in here, we'll just clean this up. I'm just going to hide those little edges, and I should be able to delete that. So what I'm going to do is actually make this unique, because it's similar but it's not the same, and then just make sure this outer piece is here. So yeah, these look a little bit fatter, but it's unique now, so I don't have to worry about like this little roundy thing. So if I select that, I should be able to, if I press L, go here and finish this line, delete, extrude, and erase. Should be able to erase that line as well. A part of the struggle with modeling like this is that you have to know when to create, when is the appropriate time to make a fresh or a unique component, because like something like in here, what I want to do is actually like offset this. You can see like there's this like Celtic inscription. So if I set this like that and then bring this up, so like around here, and this obviously doesn't go all the way up there, but if I turn this on and then draw this line there, and I want to push this in a little bit. That's kind of what I think is happening. So now I have all these little guys that have that, but this one doesn't. But it has something similar to that. So I think it's okay. That didn't take too long for me to model, but just something to think about when you're doing this kind of thing with components and you're making variations on components, that you don't want to essentially mess it up. So the goal here is blockout. So that's what we're going to be focused on. One of the things that I'm noticing here is, and it may be a mistake in the drawing itself, or it may be purposeful, but you can see here, it looks like there's like a little slat that's on a slanted piece, and these four. But here, it doesn't look like it does that. And maybe this is just different. I could see like maybe the first one and the last one are the same, and these three middle ones are different. That's what I'm gonna model it as, because I think it's weird to have these four different. I'm assuming that this front is the same as the back. Okay, so you can see here there's this really cool piece that is repeated a bunch of times that like turns into like this little basket hanger. But I'm thinking now that I may have started to get to too much detail, and it's really easy to do that. You can see like I started to like do these little details, but you really want to make sure you have the overall piece figured out before you start to get into that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is just sort of block out what is going on with these guys, literally as if it was a block. So bring this up to here. Let's actually bring this down. Assume that that is exactly where this goes. I just want to make sure that with this, just trying to be as apparently I just made that a group. Make this whole thing a group. You just want to make sure that the blockout stage that you are blocking things out. So let's keep it here because it's going to be symmetrical about that shape. Okay, so we have that guy, and I'm just gonna push this in. Let's go to that top line. So you can see that there's a little bit of weird things going on in the back, that it doesn't quite line up with what I would expect. As always, you're just gonna have to live with stuff like that when it doesn't line up completely, because this is an artist's sketch. So they do stuff without a ruler, without a computer program, so it looks really great, but there's a lot of stuff that isn't perfect. So that's what we're just gonna have to assume, that this is offset a little bit. But yeah, I like how this looks. So now that we have this shape, what I'm gonna do is make this little curve. So we're gonna assume this is a straight line, and I'm actually gonna bring this out a little more. You can see I hit control there, and what hitting control did is it made another face and left my face that was original there. So I still have that reference line, because what I'm going to do is get this started. Okay, so this looks like it's made up of a few different circles actually. But we're just going to try to continue it, and then select this, choose that fillet option. Let's try that foot. Now here that would be great, but I think actually I may just construct this by tracing it, because I don't know exactly what's going on, but I have this face here. I just want to make sure that I'm drawing on that face while I'm doing this, or else this could get messy really quickly. So you can obviously use the freehand tool. I'm just going to draw some lines. Make sure you're staying on that. It's really easy to muck this up. So here. Okay. So if I look, that looks okay. I think I might just add another line. Because you want it to feel pretty smooth. And sometimes when you're doing stuff like that, it ends up not feeling very smooth. So I'm going to copy these, paste them, delete this middle line, make that a group, go back to this, now draw a little line here, get rid of this stuff. Okay. That should be good. So we've got something like that. You know, obviously, when I look at my model, it looks so weird. But I have that reference line in the middle. I actually don't know if I need this. Hide that. I could probably just get rid of it altogether. What I'm gonna do with this shape is actually, I think press K, I'm gonna just cut this out. Right, so I have this. Okay. Yeah, maybe I want this to be different. So it looks like from here I have this, but then over here it looks fatter. So, but it looks square. So maybe I'll just go something like that. And then to get rid of all these lines, I was just gonna hit E and then hold Control and just mouse over all these lines. That way it looks a lot smoother. So I have that guy. I'm going to make it a component and call this, what do I want to call it? Deck supports. So again, assuming that this is going to go all the way to the end, to there, and then divided by 4. Make sure there's 4 of those. So we get that guy, and you can see it's obviously on the other side as well. Here, I want to get this horizontal in there. So I'm going to draw a shape here and just bring it up to where I think that is. About to there, and then I'm going to make this a group. I think this is the only place this really happens. Just bring that all the way across. And see, again, we're getting a little bit out of shape, but that's fine. We're just going to have to deal with that. Come to here. And then we'll just bring this down. You may want to choose, like, so this is maybe 2 inches. So my angle part really stops. Stops there. So what I might do is like come in and draw that. Maybe hit K. And if I wanted to extrude it, do something like that. So I have this shape and push pull it all the way across. Maybe there's more going on here than I realized. So, okay. So we will do that. Alright, so we just want to put in a little floor. It actually looks like it is. You may want to, so right now it's starting to get a little bit fuzzy. You may just want to make sure that you have a reference image. So I'm going to assume that actually all of this is at the same level. So I'm going to choose this guy. And just bring this over because I don't think that this side angles the other side did. Just use something like this. Choose that top portion. Again, select that face and then just bring that up so that it's the same height. And if it helps you, especially with something like this, as you start to add a lot more pieces, is you may start to color code things. I wouldn't get to the point where you're texturing anything necessarily, but if it helps, you know, because this is like an orange or tanny looking color, maybe you want to do that. And actually, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but for, I should tell you this for blocking out, but I think it's cool. Since you've stuck around for this long, I figured maybe you should know. You can actually take, like if you have a photo match like this, you can take, if I take this guy and go to project photo, trim partially visible faces, and I'll say yes. What happens is that texture from your photo gets applied to your model. Kind of cool. You can actually do it for like everything. So if I select all of this stuff, I could do it. But I don't want to do that right now. But it's kind of cool, like a really cool way to get your your photo match onto your 3D model. It's like cheating, a quick way to cheat. Okay, so I think now we have a really good understanding of what the blockout is and what it needs to be, and I think a lot of what is going to happen from here to the end is pretty much a lot of the same thing. So we're going to speed this up, but if you have any questions about anything that I do specifically, let me know in the comments below. And with that, I'll see you guys on the other side.